So what if I told you that the 5 years leading up to when you are going to retire really could make or break how successful your retirement is? And on top of that, if you are in your mid to late 50s, there is one specific age within that time frame that once you hit that age, there are tons of hidden opportunities that can help you avoid traps and maybe even save up to 6 figures in taxes. And that's why I made this video here today. I wanted to make sure that if you're 5 years away from retirement or you're getting close to that time frame, I want to make sure that you are prepared to avoid these traps and to set yourself up well to be successful in retirement and just to have that confidence and peace that comes with knowing that you're doing what you should be doing and avoiding those big mistakes. For many people out there who are approaching retirement, they're getting to be within that 5-year period that we're talking about, this starts to really feel like a crisis for them. They feel like they're behind. They don't have any time to catch up and get where they want to be in order to retire well. But really, this time frame leading up to retirement is a golden opportunity for you to take advantage of. And yes, it may feel like you are behind, but there is a formula that you can follow that may be able to help you actually double your nest egg in that 5 years leading up to retirement. It's not too late to put yourself in a good position if you are feeling like you're behind. So what is that simple formula? Well, if you assume that your investments are going to earn 7% over this next 5-year period, then in order for your nest egg to double in 5 years, you would need to be saving 10% of your nest egg each year, and then with that 7% return on average, and of course this is just an average, we can't know if the stock market or your portfolio is going to exactly cooperate in that 5-year period, but on average with that 7% return, you adding 10% of your nest egg to your nest egg each year, that is the formula that gets you to the space where your nest egg could double. So it's really not too late if you are within that 5-year window in retirement, if you're feeling behind, to get caught back up and set yourself up well. But I know you're saying, wait a second, Dylan, how on earth do you expect me to come up with another 10% of my nest egg to be saving per year? That's a lot of money. Well, that's where this time period with you leading up to retirement is such an interesting space for planning and for supercharging your savings. Because for most people, and again, this isn't for everyone, personal finances are personal, but for a lot of people, a lot of expenses that have been slowing you down and slowing down maybe how much you've been able to save and invest over time, some of those expenses are dropping off now. Like if you had kids through your 30s and 40s and taking care of them and providing for them, all the sports, college, all of those things, they take up a lot of time and money. And then also on that, another big expense during that time frame is buying a house and paying off a house. That's another big expense that is there during your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, paying down and paying off that mortgage. Well, for a lot of people going into retirement, those are two bigger expenses in your life, and those are kind of getting dropped off. So if you are diligent about funneling those savings that you now have from those bigger expenses, maybe not being there anymore, you're really not too far away from hitting that 10% number, or it is much more achievable once you sit down and crunch those numbers. But a lot of the magic really happens when you hit one key age in this 5-year time frame leading up to retirement if you're in your mid to late 50s, and that age is 59 and a half. And I know you're probably saying, hey Dylan, well, I know that at 59 and a half I now have access to my retirement accounts. I know that there is no longer that 10% early withdrawal penalty. I've read up, I know that. Well, that is true, and that is a huge piece to the puzzle, but that's actually just scratching the surface of what opportunities are there once you hit 59 and a half. So I wanted to break those down for you as well, and what key opportunities you have once you are at that age, and really what you should be planning for before you get to that age so you can take full advantage of those opportunities. But before we jump in on the magic that is there once you turn 59 and a half, if we haven't gotten to meet yet, my name's Dylan Martin, certified financial planner with Stewardship Investments. We help Christian families retire well and be good stewards. And if you're going through this video so far and you're thinking, man, I really do want to make sure that I nail this 5 years leading up to retirement to make sure that I am set up well for retirement, well, I just want you to know that it is available to have a free retirement planning session with myself. There's a link below in the description. We'd be happy to help orchestrate a plan for you to make sure that you are set up well for retirement. So like I was just saying, on the surface, yes, that 10% early withdrawal penalty is thrown out the window now. That's gone. But below the surface, some of the more depth that is now available for you is there's some new flexibility with Roth conversions. You now have the ability to do in-service rollovers from your provider. And you now also have this window before you turn on your Social Security income or claim Medicare at 65 to really optimize your tax savings, set your income up well, and position yourself with a really firm and great foundation going into retirement. But really the biggest shift that happens at 59.5 is that you are now going from accumulation to distribution. And this is a whole new mindset shift. We are creatures of habit. We're built by our habits. And if you've gotten to where you are now, I'm envisioning that you're a good saver. You've invested well your whole life. You've built that habit into yourself to accumulate to set yourself up well. And you've probably done a really great job. Well, now there's this whole new shift that has to happen from accumulation to distribution. This portfolio, this nest egg that you have built is now going to turn into your income producing machine. And that comes with a whole new mindset shift. So that is another big thing that comes here when you turn 59.5, and really this whole 5-year time frame I'm talking about with leading up to retirement. It's a time to shift that mindset from, like I said, from accumulation to distribution. And if you've been with me in past videos, this is also a time to be gracious to yourself. Because if you've built a habit and a way of thinking and a mindset your whole entire life, that's not going to change overnight just because you're now going into retirement. It's going to take some time to readjust that mindset. And this is really one of the spaces where a really good certified financial planner comes in, not just getting nitty-gritty in the details of setting up your income, making sure that you're set up well for retirement, getting the investments nailed down, doing the necessary tax planning. That is great. Doing all that is so necessary. But also having a good certified financial planner can help you talk through these necessary mindset shifts that need to happen in order for you to feel confident and be at peace going into retirement. So let's break down more what happens at 59.5. So I briefly mentioned this a second ago, but you now have the ability to do in-service distributions from your employer plans. And some of the benefits here with that are you have limited investment options in your 401k. So getting that 401k moved over into an IRA, maybe with an advisor that you're working with, you now have much more control over the investment options in that account. And like we were just saying, hey, you're needing to make that mindset shift. And like we were just saying, hey, you need to make that shift from accumulation to distribution. And you need to set up your accounts differently in order to do that as well. So making that in-service distribution to an IRA, you now have more control. You can also set that account up to be that income producing machine that we were just talking about. So that in-service distribution can give you more flexibility, give you more control as you make that transition into retirement. The next 2 points here have to do with Roth, and I love Roth IRAs, getting that money set aside after tax, growing tax-free. You have tax-free income down the road. It's a huge advantage. Gives you a lot of flexibility in retirement. So the big 2 things here at 59.5 that can happen with your Roths is you have been able to do Roth conversions. So converting that money from a pre-tax IRA to a Roth IRA, paying those taxes now on those pre-tax dollars so that that money in the Roth can grow tax-free, doing that proactive tax planning and managing tax brackets as well as mitigating those future required minimum distributions. Well, now with those Roth conversions, since you're past 59.5, you can actually withhold the amount that you're needing to pay in taxes from your IRA or 401k that you're converting to Roth. And that's not necessarily always the best idea. Sometimes it's better to pay the taxes for those Roth conversions from your cash flow if you have it, but just knowing that you can, or in some situations it may be better to withhold money from the IRA for those taxes for that conversion. You just now have that added flexibility, and doing some strategic Roth conversions is going to be better than doing none in most cases. So that gives you that added flexibility there. And then another thing with Roths is now you're past 59 and a half, you now have full access to your Roth IRA. Previous to 59 and a half, you were only able to access your basis, your amount that you had contributed to the account, but not the gains. Now you have full access to the gains and your basis as long as that Roth IRA has been open for 5 years. So you now have some added flexibility there as well. And that flows into my next point here at 59 and a half. You now have 5 years leading up to when you'll start taking Medicare. And in the approaching years, starting at 62, you could start to take Social Security, though that's not necessarily the best case scenario for most people, but that's when you can start to file. So now is the perfect time to start orchestrating how all of your different pieces to your puzzle are going to give you income in retirement. Because now this is not something you've had to think about your entire life. You've gotten a paycheck from work. But now you have all of these different pieces to the puzzle that are going to give you income, and there are definitely wrong ways and right ways to orchestrate them together to pay you efficiently and pay the least amount in taxes. So now is that time to really make sure that your Social Security plan is buttoned up. When are you going to take Social Security? How is that going to pair with how you're going to take income from your investments? Which investment accounts are you going to pull income from first? Your brokerage accounts, your IRAs, your Roths? Orchestrating those together, what is that going to look like? And then also just understanding how those are going to affect your Medicare premiums and different things like that that are coming up. Now is the perfect time to lay that foundation, lay that groundwork, and make sure that you're set up well. So just to recap here, that 5 years leading up to retirement, this is your high impact growth stage, where if you're behind, you can nail down and possibly look to double your nest egg before you retire if you follow that formula that we had talked about before. And then in that window, if you're in your mid to late 50s, is that pivotal age we've been talking about at age 59 and a half, where you now have massive opportunities that can either set you up well or really put a big hindrance on you going into retirement confidently in that being successful for you. So within that 5-year window, knowing that you have that pivotal 59 and a half age within that window, what should you do? Like we said, save aggressively, put that 10% of your nest egg towards your savings if you're able to do that. And if you need that, if you are already set up well, don't worry about doing that. You don't need to just be saving more for the sake of saving more. And if you're unsure how much you do have and how much you need to have for retirement, again, I'd love to help walk you through that. Or we have the retirement readiness quiz. You can go to the link below in our website, take that, see if you're on track for retirement with where you are and where you're wanting to be. And then you're approaching 59 and a half. You use that age point to optimize taxes, reduce risk, and create predictable income streams. Again, you're going from accumulation to distribution. Big mindset shift. And here's the action plan for you guys broken out. I want to make sure I send you guys home with some good action steps. So first thing here, go and review your investment accounts. Make sure that you're set up well to make that jump from accumulation to distribution. So make sure your allocation's set up well. And then make sure if you're looking at your 401k that you understand your rules and the plan documents. If you're able to do in-service distributions, just know what options you have before you get to the spot where you have to start exercising those different options. 2, just begin to map out where your income is going to be coming from. From which investment accounts are you going to pull income from? How much are you going to pull from those accounts? If you have a pension, how does that factor into the equation? At what age are you going to start taking Social Security? Just make sure you have a written out plan for where your income is going to be coming from, and then making sure that those income sources are coordinated all together to be pretty tax efficient, but then also to make sure that you have the paycheck that you want in retirement. 3, start mapping out and implementing the appropriate tax saving moves. Doing the strategic Roth conversions to cut down on your pre-tax dollars, to manage your tax brackets if you're going to be in a lower tax bracket today than you will be in the future with those required minimum distributions. And then also just doing strategic withdrawals from your investment accounts to help manage tax brackets and to make sure you're being strategic with how much you're going to be paying for Medicare, managing that 𝘗𝘳𝑚𝑎 calculation there. And lastly, just make sure that you take action. Don't let fear paralyze you. Don't be paralyzed by all the different options you have. Do the right research, write out a plan. Just make sure that you're set up well so that you can feel at peace and feel confident to make that transition. And if you need help orchestrating that plan, I'd be happy to help. Again, you can schedule time with me to have a free retirement planning session. Link below in the description to do that. But all in all, make sure that you take full advantage of this 5-year time period leading up to retirement and that pivotal age of 59 and a half. Don't let this time frame be one of anxiety. Let it be one where you are empowered and taking advantage of the golden opportunities you have there. I hope this video was helpful. Good luck making that transition, and we'll see you guys next week.